IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashdin, Doctor, your habit coach, and it is World Yoga Day, or rather, the week of World Yoga Day. We had one fantastic podcast on understanding yoga. Now, I want to share with you my 5 favorite habits on bringing yoga into my everyday life. Now, this is either for people who want to learn how to start the yoga practice, or for people who just want to bring yoga into their life as something that they do throughout the day. So, my first habit is when you're learning yoga, don't start off with a half an hour class or a 1 hour class. Instead, if you've already been to a few classes and you know your basic movements, just start by adding maybe 1 or 2 Surya Namaskars to your morning. Slowly allow that to grow to 5 Surya Namaskars, 6 Surya Namaskars, 10 Surya Namaskars. Then, when you're doing enough of it and you say, I want to now evolve this habit further, I want to grow this habit further, that's when you start thinking of a 15-minute class, a half an hour class, and so on and so forth. The second habit is to keep a yoga mat out in your room at all times. So, what I do is I have a yoga mat put in front of my sofa, just in front of the TV. And in this way, whenever I'm watching TV and I see the yoga mat, I said, oh, let me instead sit on the ground. Then I'll sit on the ground. And now, because I'm on the ground, I will move my feet in different yoga postures. I will sit with, in the butterfly pose, or I will move my leg, in that 90-90 position. In this way, you start creating opportunities to bring that mobility and that yoga practice into your life. The third way is to start focusing on what yoga was actually meant for, which is to get into a better state of meditation. You can do this by becoming more mindful about the way that you're sitting. One of the things that I like doing is just sit, put my yoga mat in a corner, and do this practice called nothingness. All right. Now, there's a fun Buddhist practice where you basically put your mat in a corner. So you're facing a wall or you're facing a corner, and then you do nothing. Literally. Every time you catch yourself doing something, you stop. So you will start saying, all right, I'm going to be doing nothing. I'm going to be doing nothing. I'm going to be doing nothing. Let me count my breath. Now, counting your breath is doing something. So then you're like, oh, no, wait, I can't count my breath. And slowly, after a while, with more practice, you will start catching just how much your mind needs to be occupied with things. How many thoughts keep coming? How many things that are there that try and pull your mind towards it? So this nothingness practice is a great way of allowing yourself that stillness that we need in our lives, because our lives are just so packed, running around all the time. I know people who are constantly on their phone, on YouTube, if there's nothing else to do. They just can't be doing nothing. The fourth practice is to start thinking about yoga from a breathing point of view. Now, breathwork in yoga is absolutely important. We know about pranayam and how many different kinds of pranayam there are. But the simplest way of starting this practice is just by focusing on your stomach going in and out when you breathe. The way to do this is put your left hand on your chest and your right hand on your stomach in front of your navel. Now, when you breathe in, with a slight pressure with the hand on your stomach, push it out. So when you breathe in, push the hand on the stomach out. When you breathe out, pull that stomach in while you're breathing out. Now, when you practice this, you will realize that you are breathing the other way all this time. This is a de-stressing breath. It's a breath that is designed to get rid of stress in your life. The other kind of breathing, where you breathe in when your stomach moves in, when you're breathing in, and out when you're moving out, is actually a stress breath, because it's a breath that we use when we're running. So instead, if you start breathing like this, you can actually calm your nervous system down and focus on the way breathing takes place. This is the absolute basic. I do this when I'm watching TV, for example. I do this when I am on a Zoom call. I'm constantly doing this because I'm watching my breath and how it is working. And I think that is an absolute essence in the word yoga. Another way to bring yoga into your life, and my favorite habit, is do some yoga practice at night on your bed. So this could be either lying down, hands spread apart, your legs up in 90 degrees, and you're just rocking from side to side, loosening up that lower back. It could be doing a shoulder stand. This is what I like doing just before bed. I like doing a shoulder stand, just releases all that pent up stress that is there in my shoulder. You find which postures work for you, because you have a nice soft bed. You can do things that you can't otherwise do on the mat. And you can spend some time in this position. This is a great way to practice all your stretching asanas. So anytime you want your muscles elongated, this is another really good time to just very gently do that. We're not trying to achieve anything. We're not trying to get the best result or anything. We're just trying to get our bodies ready for bed. Now, these 5 habits are very easy to put into your life. Start incorporating them, because this is the way we start making changes, tiny, bit by bit. If you want, add another 6th habit. Figure out what works well for you. But the most important thing about yoga is bringing that focus back to your body, your self-care, and ultimately to that mindfulness, that meditation practice that exists in all of us. Usually in a podcast, it's me who speaks to you and you who listens. But I've been seeing your comments, and it's time. It's me listening to you. Following the overwhelming success of this podcast, the good folks at IVM Podcast Network have decided to come up with a Kannada adaptation of the show for those who prefer listening to it in that language. Do make sure you let your Kannada speaking friends know about this as well. Now, if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am at Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. We have a brand new habit coaching online course, quizzes, videos, and a lot more on the website awesome180.com. So check it out now.
Hello, everybody. It's been another awesome, great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Think Fast, Varun and Sujita talk about India's new unicorn, PhysicsWala, and their humble business venture. On Nankari, Sadaf and Archit discover some interesting trivia about oil with Hindustan Times columnist Shweta Sivakumar. On Misconduct, Ragvi and Nisha tell us about sex trafficker Sonu Punjaban. On Big Talk about tiny humans, Devi Shobha and Meghna share tips for sleep training babies. And on Ikka Dukka Economy, renowned economist Arun Kumar tells Abhinav about the impact of black money on individual finances. We got some exciting news for you. IVM Podcast has just launched its merch line, and you should check it out now. Head over to the IVM Podcast website, that's ivmpodcast.com, and click on the shop tab to check out our first collection of t-shirts. Also, do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. That really does help. Don't forget to rate us on any of the platforms you're listening to us on. And also do remember, you can check out a number of our shows on YouTube. You can go to ivmpodcast.com/YouTube to get a list of the channels that we are keeping active. We also are doing a small listener survey. If you could go to ivmpodcast.com/survey to fill this out, it'll just take a few minutes and it really helps us out. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance, Apne Liye, Apno Ke Liye. Jupiter, a digital banking app. Capgemini, get the future you want. Intel vPro, built for business. And Intel, future banao wonderful with Intel-powered laptops. There's a quick survey to fill out on ivmpodcast.com/survey. It lets us know a little bit more about who's listening to us. And you know what? We're going to do a few prizes. So, we'll do a random drawing of maybe 10 people, and we'll send you all some swag. Remember, that's ivmpodcast.com/survey where you can fill out the